Well, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to reach out to you all just to thank everyone for getting involved in hashtag Listen Now Week. It's certainly a sensitive topic, mental health and suicide. And we're glad that the week provided greater awareness for the wider community, because mental health is all around us and suicide, sadly, is just not often spoken about. I think the most rewarding thing for the week from where I sit has been the amount of families that have had deaths as a result of suicide that reached out to us to say thank you. Thank you for the Listen Now week. Thank you for giving people permission to talk about suicide, and thanks for creating greater awareness. We couldn't have done this without the tremendous support of all our fantastic ambassadors. We're so blessed to have so many people join us to tell their own individual stories and how brave they were to be so generous in sharing their stories with the wider community.
Mental health first aid is all about asking the question directly, having the courageous conversation. Are you thinking of killing yourself? That is the question. And a lot of people are frightened of asking that question because they're worried they'll put the thought in their head, which is an understandable assumption, but it has no evidence.
With suicides, a number of people ask me, do you see many suicides? And I'm always really shocked at so many people when I say, yeah, we see them every single day. Yeah. That people out there just don't have that concept that someone suicides not just once, but 3 times a day, every day of the year across Victoria. And people don't really understand that.
It was so important after Matthew died to search and go back and talk to his friends. It was like trying to piece the puzzle together to find out as much as I could of what led up to that day.
People have said that they've been able to identify with some of our ambassadors' stories. And that on its own is so helpful. So to our fantastic ambassadors, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you in helping us to create greater awareness in and around mental health and suicide.
And as a parent, that's absolutely terrifying to think that the child that you love could actually contemplate taking their life. It's really hard to believe that, even if you hear it, it's hard to believe that that could possibly happen. But you do have to try and get past that to help them.
I suppose I'm not scared to say it is, why didn't I take my own life? Because I bloody felt like it a lot of times. So I look at, these different people that sadly do.
What do you mean, Joe? Do you mean that you feel guilty that you lived through it?
I do.
Okay.
I do. At the moment, I do. I look back and think, there's probably half a dozen around here that in the last, 10, 15 years have taken their own life. And I just, sometimes I feel bloody guilty.
Why do I deserve to get through?
That's right.
What you mean? Why do I deserve to get through? Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about suicide. We're talking about suicide ideation, and it is an issue for emergency services. The Beyond Blue work did highlight that suicide ideation is much higher amongst emergency services workers.
Yes.
They're more likely to have a suicide plan. So we know it's an issue that people are experiencing. We need to be talking about it even more and breaking down that stigma.
I'd really like to thank and salute Justin Smith, who I thought led all the interviews and discussions with our ambassadors with compassion, care, and much sensitivity. You really invested 110% in this week, Justin. And on behalf of all of us, thank you so much.
Hey, the thing for me is, how do we stop not just younger men, but younger women from killing themselves? You know, how do we change that number? Because the numbers are horrendous. We haven't been talking about it enough. How do we stop people from taking their own lives?
And so what James and Tobin Brothers have done is absolutely timely and absolutely the right thing, because it's saying, hang on, let's stop. Let's really check in on each other. And just a simple phone call can be sometimes the thing that's needed to make a person realise that they're cared for and they're appreciated and valued.
They're loved.
Or
They're
that
loved.
phone call and loved.
Yeah.
Or that phone call could be the thing that directs people to professional support that, you know, people may well be in desperate need of.
To the tremendous team at Tobin Brothers who pulled this whole week together in only 3.5 weeks, I want to salute you and thank you to Matt, to Brad, to Laura, to Viv, to Donna. Fantastic work, tremendous work in getting this out to the wider community. Whilst Listen Now Week has concluded, I encourage you all to continue to have these sorts of conversations with friends, family, work colleagues. Check in with people. Pick up the phone. See how people are going. I really encourage you to check in with those who are living currently in isolation alone. Let's check in on those people to make sure they're going okay. Essentially, Listen Now Week should be part of our lives each and every day of the year. And I encourage you to continue to listen, and thank you for being part of Listen Now Week for 2020.
By the time that you are really contemplating suicide, often it can be the last time when you'll be really thinking about getting help. You know, you just think it's a hopeless task. The earlier the better. You know, the earlier you're seeking support, if you're not feeling right, the better.